Okay, so here we are for part 2 of the tutorial, and now we're in InDesign. What we have on screen here is the template blank portfolio PDF that Jim's created for you all to use. At the minute it's set up for graphic design. It's got a few details on it that specify that. Obviously those are easy to change. Feel free to adapt these typefaces to suit your own personality. I think it's quite a nice way of personalising what is quite a stark template. How we've set these up is each project will flow chronologically, so part 1 will be project 1, part 2 project 2, and in each instance you'll be showing the development, the research, through to the final piece. It might be that there are not enough pages for the work you want to include, so feel free to add a new page which uses this little icon here, just like a new layer in Photoshop. So let's go to part 1. Which is project 1. Again, you'll have to alter this to suit the project, and it asks us here to include reference and initial idea or secondary research. So those are the images we're going to include. First off, I'm going to click on that text box. I'm just going to delete that. So what we're essentially looking at is adding images, adding the images we just saved in Photoshop. So the first thing we're going to need to do is select this frame tool. Looks a bit like an envelope. And we're just going to drag and drop an empty frame. Now to get an image into that, we hold Command and we hit D. I would do that on a menu, but I'm not sure what menu that exists in. I'm so used to using that shortcut. So that's Command and D. And that's going to open up this dialog box where we can go to wherever we've saved those images. So we have saved them in portfolio images in project 1, and here is that piece of layout pad with the research images on it. Now, this is where some people get a little bit muddled up in InDesign. What we have here isn't just an image, we have two things. We have the box that we put in place, which at the minute is highlighted with these little white anchors and a blue outline. But if we actually got a selection tool and hover in there, we get this circle. And when we click on that, we can now see these anchors have gone orange and they actually expand out to here, and there's an orange outline. That is the photograph. So we have two things. We have the box that contains the image, and we have the image. We can move the image around independent of the box, and we can move the box around with the image in it. So I want this image to be more or less full page, so I'm going to just use these pre-existing lines. And now if we right click, we have this menu, fitting, and this here is the option you're going to use most frequently. Fit content proportionately. So that's going to that's going to fit your image into that frame but keep it in proportion. And we have Alt, Shift, Command and E. So if you hold those three keys down, Alt, Shift, Command, and hit E, that happens. We can right click and we can center the content, or we can right click and we can fill frame proportionately, and that's going to take care of these edges. That's going to actually fill that out. If we just select that little circle and hit our cursor, we can push that image up very carefully. Okay. So there we go. There's that image placed in there. Now I'm quite happy with that. I believe my lecturer, external examiner, will have a good view of what I'm trying to show. Everything's nice and clear. I'm going to go to the next page. And let's say in this page I want to add the other image that we saved. So it's same again. I'm going to select a rectangle frame tool and I'm going to just drag and drop, Command and D, my illustration of Bob Dylan, and selection tool, right click and fit content proportionally. And there we go. And now I have my blue frame exists here But my image stops here, so I can right click and I can fit my frame to content, which will just tidy that up a bit, nice and tidy. I can add other images, just use the same one again, and I can so that's how you would start to create multiple images. Luckily, inDesign will begin to anchor, so it's quite easy to lay things out of equal size. I've done that because I'd remembered the shortcut. So you can see those green lines telling me that the gaps between these two small images and the middle and left hand image are the same, nice and equal. And that's how I would add multiple images. Obviously, you'd probably want to add different multiple images. And that's how we begin to populate our PDF. Now you're probably going to want to add some type boxes. I believe you'll know how to do that, but let's just quickly. We select our type, we drag and draw a box, and we can start to put type in there. We can drag that box around, and again, we're going to get those guides, which allow us to work really tidily. Now remember, for any type where you're wanting to explain the work, we're really more interested in seeing the work. So this type wants to be nice and subtle, as this is not. So I'm probably going to go for something that isn't a heavy font. And I'm probably going to go for something around about 10 point rather than 30. And I might even make that a heavy grey, not even a flat black. So that's going to be a lot more subtle than this. As long as we can read it, that's fine. We want the type to blend in, not stand out. And that's how you're going to add images to a PDF.